Today, we want to bust some of those limiting beliefs that stops you from getting started with investing. You are listening to Investing Mastermind Podcast. My name is Signe Lundholt.
And I'm Michelle Markey.
We want to talk to you about the mindset that you need in order to get started investing, because what I experience oftentimes is that people are not getting started simply because of mindset. There are different things that stops them from getting started. It could be that I don't have enough money to start investing. It's too complicated. Only professionals should invest, and it's too time consuming. It's too late for me to get started, or I'm too young to get started. And all of those beliefs about yourself and your own abilities will hinder you from getting started investing. So one of the things that you can do is, once you are aware that you have a limiting belief about something, like if there's anything I just said that you're thinking, oh yeah, that's exactly how I feel, what you could do is that you could write it down so you're aware, okay, so this is one of my limiting beliefs about investing. Note it down on a piece of paper. And then the next step for you is to kind of reflect on some of the consequences that belief has in your life. So if you think, okay, but I don't have enough money, how is that holding you back from actually getting started with investing? Because did you really do your research in order to find out, do I have too little money? Or is there something that you can do so that you get more money, like, for example, skip the cafe latte or something like that? So there are many ways to actually overcome that limiting belief. Is that something you've worked with, Michelle, like limiting beliefs, or something you experienced to have, or something that you've met from people that aren't investing yet?
I've seen some people struggle with this idea of where to even begin and how much money do you need to invest. Like, some people are a little worried that they might not have enough. Like, they might think, I might only have $100 to invest, and maybe that's not enough because, XYZ stock that I like is trading above that. But there's some ways around this. So I would suggest start with whatever money you can afford, and whether it's $100, $1,000. And a nice thing nowadays that didn't exist when I started investing as a teenager was fractional shares that now people can take advantage of. Like, there are many of the popular brokerages offer a fraction of a share. So let's say, you only have $100, but you want to buy Apple stock, which is around $175. It's okay if you can only buy $100 worth of Apple stock. It's about, kind of a little more than 50% of a stock that maybe one share you could buy, which, if you did your research, like Signe was saying, you could start beginning to invest. Like, there's nothing holding you back from starting to take that next step. So as long as you can kind of get over that hump, I think that's some of what Signe is going to talk us through today, is how to get over that mental hump of, instead of just being in your head and being like, oh, I need all these in place before I even get started. I know that Signe has some techniques to help us get through those things.
Yeah, exactly. Because for many people, they might, I totally agree with what you're saying. And also, please note that the fractional shares aren't available with every broker, so you need to do some research. But even to get there, there's just a lot of people that never get into that research stage because they just keep telling themselves, and I'm no better, I have limiting beliefs myself. Everybody has that. Nobody can say, oh no, I do not have any limiting beliefs. So if you think you do not have any limiting beliefs, look closer. But it might not be within what we're talking about right now. It could be some other things, right? So it's just time to think about, okay, is there something that's holding me back from getting started, or to go to that next level within investing? And then, start working with your mindset. And the way you work with your mindset is to first identify the belief and then think about, okay, so how has that belief helped me back in the past? What are the consequences of that I didn't get to do this because I had this limiting belief. So write that down and treat it as an old limiting belief, because now it's time that you create a new empowering belief for yourself. For example, in your example, it could be, I'm resourceful and I can find the right information. Or I'm resourceful, I can find some mentors to teach me, like listening to this podcast, right? It could be that, a belief that says, I prioritize my financial education and learning about investing and investing in my future is exactly that. So that's also a belief that you could have instead of your old limiting belief. It could also be, I commit to being steady, and every dollar I invest is the step towards my financial goal. So things like that, writing down new beliefs is really, really good. And just think about what you can write instead that will really help you, because, it also depends on who you are, what would help you overcome that limiting belief.
Yeah. And maybe for some people, they need to take a very small, gradual step, like maybe only try it out with $1, use $1 or whatever the minimum is to buy something on the stock market, just so you get over some of the initial jitters of like putting at risk $1 in something. So whether that's in an index fund, which there's pretty low minimums to invest in an index fund. Like, I'm not saying what you should invest in, but just as an example, if you did, that could be one way to kind of take a gradual first step, because it's pretty low risk to risk $1. People risk $1 all the time when you might buy something in the grocery store you never tried before. So, that's a small step, or some people want maybe a big step where they jump like a cannonball into a swimming pool, and then, instead of wading into the cool water, see if it's a little too cold, you just get it all over you and you're just fully in, and you are already, you're willing to put your $1,000 you saved up to work. So it all depends on your temperament, like Signe is saying.
Yeah. And if you, for example, stop buying coffee every day, like a $5 coffee at, the takeout, you've saved $1,800 a year, and you could get started investing with that for sure, right? Actually start getting some real good investing started with that kind of money. So, just small steps like that, make your own coffee, just makes a huge difference in that. And with that, if you started doing that, what you then could start doing is a daily gratitude practice. It is something that I actually do for myself every single day. I write down things that I'm grateful for. It's 5 things. I often ask my children before bedtime something that they are grateful for in their life right now. And since this is an investing podcast, it could be, that you write down something that you're grateful for around your finances or about your investing practice. So for example, every day, write down 3 things that you're grateful for related to your financial situation. Because when you do that, when you focus on gratitude, you also move your mindset away from scarcity and focus on abundance. Like it could be, I'm grateful that I took the time to listen to Investing Mastermind Podcast today, or, something small like that, or that I followed this inspirational account on social media that will improve my budgeting. Whatever the situation is, it could also be, like I just talked about, saving the $5 on a takeout coffee and instead putting them into an account for investing, or anything. It could be sending gratitude to someone who you see as a role model, and they might not even know that they're a role model to you, but just write down, I'm really grateful that this person is there in my life so that, I can have someone who inspire me. It could be that a family member at some point helped you out financially and you're grateful about that. It doesn't necessarily have to be something about today. It could be something that happened years ago, but where you're just like super grateful that that happened, and thinking about that and sending some loving thoughts their way. It's something that I love to do, and it just, again, it changes my mindset. It absolutely makes me feel incredibly abundant. And I have to say that money just constantly falls into my bank account. It really does after I'm practicing this, and it just also because I'm really grateful about it and I notice it and I send gratitude towards it. And I'm like, what happened now? How did I get this money? Oh, okay, nice. Thank you very much. So it's just, yeah, having that mindset of gratitude and abundance. And I come from a totally other mindset of feeling a lot of scarcity. So, it's a matter of also turning it around. Would that be
Yeah.
something you would be up for trying?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great practice to write down what one is grateful for. And I think it does make us feel better of when we count our blessings, it helps remove us from this kind of negative thought process sometimes that maybe instead of like, oh, why is this happening to me? Something bad happened to me today. You reframe your mindset, you turn it around and you say, but actually, I'm so lucky to be alive. Like you could have suffered a lot of loss in a wildfire. That could have been something, that's tremendous pain and tragedy. But if that didn't happen to you, your day is okay. Like you still have your house, you still have your money, hopefully, you still have the ability to work and earn more money. Like there's so many things to be grateful for that, like I feel very grateful to be alive, and that when we turn our mindset around, instead of thinking, I don't have enough money, by looking at it with the abundant mindset, like you're saying, and say, I have more than enough money to get started. I don't need all the money in the world. Like, I don't have to have $1 million to get started. That's where we stop thinking that we don't have enough, like the scarcity mindset, and we start thinking that it's more than enough, the abundant mindset. And there's more from where that came from. So by thinking in this abundant mindset, like you're saying, we can create even more abundance for not only ourselves, but the people we love, and also give back to our community and help other people. And it's like a positive flywheel. So I think that that is a tremendous point you're making about practicing gratitude, and that will open up way more doors in the universe than just thinking, woe is me, like the universe is out to get me. But as long as you don't get stuck in that way of thinking and open yourself up to receive, I think that you will not only receive, but also then be able to be in a position to give to others. So I think it can only be a good thing for us.
Yeah, and I love what you're saying about that, because it can really change not only, are you feeling happy, and especially if you do it before bedtime, you'll sleep better because you'll go to bed and think about how grateful you are about things. But even, doing it before you have to show up somewhere will also just put you, so you release another kind of energy to people that you meet on your way, rather than, feeling down or something like that. You go to someone with gratitude, a mindset of gratitude that's just embedded in you. So what I can also suggest here is to actually write it down, pen and paper. I've tried to write it down on my phone notes, did that for a very long time, but it actually makes a huge difference that you do it with pen and paper. For my kids, I just ask them before bedtime. They don't have to write it down, but at some point I'm going to introduce it that they need to write it down. When they're a little bit older, we start gentle with those little rascals.
That's good. Well, I think and also by writing it down, we tend to remember it more, maybe. Like there's something visceral about using the pen and paper, that even though you could put it in your phone, but like sometimes it can feel a little bit transactional in phone notes. Let's say it just feels like you're sending someone a text that may or may not be that meaningful. But by being mindful and intentional about writing it down, it has a transformative effect. Like you're putting it out into the universe, and maybe that will come back to you. So yeah, I think that's a great point.
Last thing I want to talk about that I also have is a vision board. A vision board is something, I've had it on and off for most of my adult life. When I was younger, I didn't even know that was what I did, but it's basically a vision board is creating a vision of where you would like to go in your life, or what you would like to have, or where you want to go. It's a visionary piece of evidence of where you would like to be in the future. And as mentioned, I've had one for most of my adult life. What I do, I use a program that's called canva.com, which you can use for free. You just need to create an account or use your Google account. And then you can do this presentation, find images online, just search for images online of something that you would like a special type of vacation or some people that are your role models. You can find photos of them online and then put it into Canva. You can also do a PowerPoint presentation or whiteboard like Miro, or just if you like to do it on a sheet of paper, you could do that as well, and then print out photos or find magazine photos or something like that. And then you stick it up on your wall. And, you can, for example, the empowering belief that you just created, you can actually write that on that vision board as well. So what we talked about earlier was these limiting beliefs, and you could write your new empowering belief on that vision board as well. On my vision board, I have a photo of Warren Buffett. Charlie Munger is in that photo too. And you can see Buffett is kind of greeting someone. That's me. He's, waving at me like, oh, hello, Signe. And then I have a photo of my family at a very tropical location because I would love to travel more with my family. I have a photo of the staff that's going to cook and clean and do all the things in my house. We do have a cleaning lady. I love our cleaning lady. She's the best, but I wouldn't mind somebody cooking some delicious, organic, healthy meals for us. So yeah, that's some of the things that I have on my vision board. And, I would love to be a platinum partner with Tony Robbins at some point. So I have that on my vision board. So all kinds of things, go to Disneyland with my kids and many, many different things on that vision board. And I usually put it up for a while and then I put it away. And then I might put it up on the wall again. And the reason for that is because my subconscious mind also needs to work with it. So I can't have it and look at it all the time. Have you ever done something like that? Like a vision board? Have you heard about it? Done it?
Yeah, I've heard about it and it sounds really great. I've done maybe smaller versions of that. Like I've definitely written down some of my goals on pieces of paper, and maybe my version was more of a kind of like to-do list, like things I would like to accomplish in life, like say start a YouTube channel and start a podcast. Like I might have written those down on a piece of paper as an aspirational, these are my goals and this is what I would like my career to be next in the next 5 to 10 years. So I may have done a more basic version of some of that, but I actually, even though I don't have a specific vision board itself, but I actually have a cork wall in my room that I have a lot of pictures and artifacts of things that were meaningful to me, like pictures of my family and like say skiing stickers from certain ski mountains I've been to that, kind of inspire me. Like I went there, or a postcard of New Zealand as somewhere that I would like to go back to because New Zealand is so amazing. So in a way, it might not be as organized as what you might see on a vision board, but I see those things and I have a little keychain of Buffett hanging around. So I see those every now and then. So in a way, I'm like indirectly inspiring, but I haven't conscientiously organized it. But maybe I should consider doing something like that to really, focus my energies, because if you direct more of your energies, I think in a more concentrated, organized way, like creating a vision board, I think that might yield more focused results than kind of maybe taking it as casually as I have been.
Well, I don't know. I was reading a while ago. Actually, I was listening to Matthew McConaughey's book, Green Lights, which I highly recommend. Do the Audible version. It is fantastic. And he is absolutely amazing and inspirational. What he did was when he was young, he created he just made a Post-it note with 5 different topics that he would like to achieve in his life. And at some point, as a mature adult, recently in his life, he came across that Post-it note, and it actually turned out he had achieved all of those 5 things, like winning an Oscar and things like that. It is so inspirational to hear again how, he wrote that down, and then he kind of just subconsciously worked towards it. He didn't have to look at it all the time. And that's also what I experienced, is that I can't, like, for example, right now I can't show it to you because it's not up right now, because sometimes I just need to get it out of my vision for a little bit, and then I might put it back up or change a few things. I love the creative process in it, and I love to have it up and hanging and looking at it. And I love achieving the things that are on that board, which, you do experience when you do something like that, because you just work towards some of that. But sometimes I do take it down because it can also be, a lot to have it up all the time, in my opinion. And I still know exactly where it's going. And I have it on my phone. Like, one of my phone backgrounds is that vision board. So one thing I also have, I know we're coming to an end of the show, and I'm talking a lot in this show. I'll make sure that we have Michelle coming back and talking a lot in another episode, but I'm very passionate about this, as you probably can hear. One thing I have on my vision board is an incantation, and it is inspired by Tony Robbins. So some of you who are following him, if you do, you've most likely heard it before, but here I go. Wealth is circulating in my life. All my needs, desires, and goals are met instantaneously by the universe. Her wealth flows through me in avalanches of abundance. I give thanks for all my good now and all of her riches. So that's something inspirational that I have on my vision board. That's an affirmation or incantation. I feel so strongly, and I believe so beautiful that it's something that I often think about or say out loud. I just think it's such a beautiful incantation. So that's a pro tip for your vision board.
That sounds awesome. Kind of like sort of a meditation or like a prayer, like in a way that's specifically focused on your goal. So by reciting that, you come to believe it more. Just like, anything we say to ourselves, like we start to believe, like, if let's say, you're doing some task around your house and you drop a hammer on your foot, and then you say like, oh, I'm so silly for doing that. Like, you kind of shortchange yourself a little bit. But by trying to switch it around and say, oh, even though I dropped the hammer in my foot, it's okay. We all make mistakes. I won't do that next time. I'll do a little bit of a different step so that I don't feel bad about it. Like it might hurt in the moment, but little things like that to kind of coach ourselves, like talk to ourselves in a positive way instead of criticizing ourselves, and not call ourselves like a dummy or something like that. So you're proving that by speaking positively to ourselves, you are creating this abundance mindset, and you're getting your life in the direction you want it to go. And that's a beautiful thing. And I'm so grateful that you shared these techniques with me and our audience. So thank you so much, Signe, for helping us get in the best investing mindset.
All right, that's it for today. I hope you found this episode interesting. It was a little bit different than investing, but hopefully you can work with your mindset no matter where you are on your investing journey. There's always something to work on. So with that, we'll say thanks so much for today, and we'll be back on Tuesday.
Till next time.
If you enjoyed the show and found the content informational, we would be super grateful if you would leave us a review and follow us wherever you get your podcasts, so you automatically get new episodes in your feed. We publish a new show every Tuesday.
The contents of the Investing Mastermind podcast are for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. None of this is investing advice, and if you need help in your personal situation, please consult with a professional.